Are you wondering how in the world can you let go of the resentment? How is it that you can overcome communication challenges that maybe you've had for 1, 2, maybe even 3 decades when it comes to sex and intimacy? Maybe you tried experimenting in your relationship at some point and things did not go as planned. They didn't go well. And you're wondering how to pick up the pieces from here and learn to trust your partner and learn how to communicate consciously, honestly, and openly without fearing that your partner's going to take it wrong. And how do you learn to trust your partner after maybe things didn't go so well when you were in that experimenting stage? All these sorts of things are things that many of the couples that I hear from struggle with day in and day out. They don't know how to communicate about their desires. They don't know how to get their needs met. Maybe as a man, you've struggled with wondering, how can I last long enough? How can we bridge the divide between my turn on and hers? And she takes a long time and I'm so quick and I don't know how to work with this. Well, today you're going to have an opportunity to hear from one of my couples who did my Epic Sex Blueprint program. It's the day after Valentine's Day, and to celebrate the month of love, the Epic Sex Blueprint program is currently open for enrollment through Thursday, February 29th, 2024. And today you're going to hear from Sherry and Carlos. Sherry and Carlos are a young couple who've actually been together for 13 years as of yesterday. And they have 2 small children, a 5-year-old and a 1.5 year old, who went through my program after doing all sorts of different therapy, even EMDR therapy and hypnotherapy before. And they're going to share their experience about why the Epic Sex Blueprint program was the answer and why that helped them get their goals and desires for the sex life and relationship when nothing else would. They tried everything. So I'm excited for you to hear from them today. And if you're inspired and this seems like something that you're ready to dive into, then I want to encourage you to head to the link in the show notes, because right now, through the end of February 2024, that program is currently open for enrollment. So you can book a call, fill out the application, get your partner on the call, and let's talk about whether or not this is a solution for you as well. I'm really excited for you to hear from Sherry and Carlos, and I'm even more excited to get to learn more about you and your partner and see how I might be able to help you. So I hope you enjoy the show. All right, welcome to the show, Sherry and Carlos. I'm so excited to have you both with me today. I'm excited to learn and have you share with our audience on the Multi-Orgasmic Millionaire about you, your family, how long y'all been together, and I know today is a special day for y'all, so tell me more about it.
Yes. So today is actually the anniversary of the day we met. We met on a Valentine's Day in 2011. So it's been 13 years. And that day changed my life forever. So I'm like celebrating times 2.
Awesome. And tell me about your family. So you've been together 13 years. Y'all have children. How old are they?
So we have 2 kids, Julian, who is 5 years old, and Margaret, it's a year and a half. And yeah, those are our 2 bundle of joy and our blessings.
That's awesome. So yeah, when you guys came to me back in July, you were very busy because you also run a business, you have 2 little children. So I would love to hear more about what you were going through as a couple when we first connected back in July of 23. So I'm excited to hear from both of you, your perspective on things. Sherry, you want to share first?
Okay. So when I came to you, I remember being in this chapter of my life that, like, I already have a family, we already have a business where we're doing life, we're doing good, but it wasn't like aligned 100% to where we wanted to go, to who we wanted to be. There were things that, constantly and consistently were becoming an issue. We had we didn't know how to communicate very well and effectively. It was more like arguments and explosion, and then making up, and then explosion, and like this kind of like toxic cycles that we, over time, you start saying, what's wrong? Why can we not be friends and be connected and be communicating well? So I remember just being at that point where I needed to dig deep inside my soul to see how can I at least change myself if I cannot obviously have power to change my partner, but how can I do my best? So I started listening to podcasts. I started like doing my part of the work spiritually, community wise, getting out there, forcing myself to do things that I wouldn't do before. And that led me to finding you. And that's how I got hopeful. We were also going to therapy. So on that side, we were trying, but the subconscious work and the somatic work that we needed to do wasn't being integrated in the therapy. So
Correct. Yeah.
when I heard your podcast, it resonated a lot with me and with our situation.
Yeah, gotcha. Awesome. So it sounds like communication was really off. You found yourself arguing about the same things a lot. Carlos, I'd love to hear from you. Where were you at in your perspective when we first talked? Like, what was going on in your relationship? And
It was, yeah, I'm sorry. It was going through a lot. I feel this, not forget that we have 2 babies and business owners, so it's chaos all the time in the house. And unfortunately, it's not like Sherilet and I did our work. We heal our traumas, we dig deep into our souls before we had kids. So we had to, in a way, do it afterwards to deconstruct and construct again what it means to be married, what it means to have a partner. And that's in the journey that we are in right now. Back in July, I cannot even believe it was July last year. Yeah, we were just struggling with our relationship, even though we have a business, even though we have a beautiful family, the fundamentals of respect, boundaries, conscious communication was not there. And so I guess that's what was missing. And I'm just so happy that we just jump into the program. At that point, we had already had a few therapies. So we tried to fix it, but in a way, we didn't got to the root. And that's what your program did. You help us at a whole different level that we couldn't see before.
Yeah. Okay. So I also remember that sexually speaking, there were some things going on that you guys really wanted to resolve that can really hinder our experience of pleasure and sex. So I know for Sherry, you wanted to be able to experience more pleasure sexually. Felt like it was hard for you to get there, things like that. And Carlos, it was like feeling all of the pressure to please her, and then that pressure resulting in some performance anxiety and things like this, and coming too fast and not knowing how to deal with that. So I'd love to hear a little bit about where you were at with that. I know it can feel uncomfortable to share these things, but it's so many other couples struggle with this too, that if there's anything you want to share around that, we'd love to hear.
Absolutely. I think that there's a lot of similarities in families, but talking about my case, I feel that we married too young, right? I think sex is obviously the biggest topic here. So that's how we met. That's how we built our connection. From the beginning of our relationship, Shirley didn't had. I was like her first, so didn't know what to expect, and we just kept going all these years with that, like disconnection at times and different frequencies and what we like, what we don't like. And so for me, I think one of the biggest challenges that I had, it was that I just had just an easy connection with myself in a way that I could just reach an orgasm very fast without like just too much thought or even too much excitement. It was just like I was already pre-warm all the time, and that didn't help Sherilet. That it was opposite of me, that she needed a lot of time, that there was just communication, touch, and that just resulted in a lot of friction and a lot of challenges for the two of us, because I wasn't able to perform and last like a normal sexual relationship can last. So I'm glad that that is changing. I still have some work to do, but I'm already into the journey to have more fulfillment, to be reaching different depths of our sexuality. So that's what I feel.
Yeah. Sherry, what about you? Where would you say you were at sexually and your experience of pleasure? What was that like for you when you first started in July?
So it had been a big topic in my life because I was constantly feeling dissatisfied. I was constantly in a negative thought pattern. I would constantly just say the worst things to myself. At the very beginning of our relationship, it was like the fire that started the love. It was like the chemicals, the chemistry. It's just intense. That for me felt like love. But then you face real life together. And when that excitement can wear off, it's hard to know if you don't have the tools and the foundation to know how to navigate that for a long-term relationship to last. So when I came in July, I remember being just like over it, frustrated at the point of just because I have been searching for help for a long time. I have been trying and nothing seemed to work.
Yeah, and I really want to dive into this because it's something that I hear a lot of couples do. And I know that several years ago, you guys had, you've been to therapy, you tried different relationship things, you experimented in your relationship and tried to see if maybe you could bridge the sexual and pleasure gap by opening things up a little bit. And that resulting in some pretty disastrous experiences, yeah, and some resentments that lasted a long time. So I would love to hear a bit about that experience and how we were able to move from resentment and bad communication and things like that to actually being able to let some of those past hurts go, because that's been a huge part of y'all's journey, is letting go of resentment and jealousy and fear that something like that might happen again, right? So anything I want to share on that? They're like, oh, damn.
Yeah, that was like the most intense, dark period of my life. Was like me being very young and navigating like what it means to be committed, what it means to be free, what are boundaries. Like I really didn't have a clear vision and being very strong in who I am to be experimenting or trying or be ready for what it really takes to even open up that possibility that we were going to be intimate with anybody else outside our marriage, or we were not very clear. So in that period of time, we made decisions that had a long repercussion over years, basically, of resentment and mistrust, and just never, everything was not the same after that. We came out the other side just when we decided to stick together and figure it out together. That we were not against each other. We were actually trying to work for the same things. It's just that we were young and trying, and people make mistakes. It's human. So to know that we were not the problem, like there was a problem that could be dealt with if we actually united. And even if we didn't, that individually, you have that responsibility to dig and say, why did I do that? What I could have done better, or how do I become a better version of myself, and really learn from those lessons and not let that shrink you down and change who you are and never connect to pleasure the same again. And it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's not forget that Shirley was like 17 when we got married, and I was 25. I had already had my sexual experiences from the past. from the beginning, we had a very big challenge ahead of us, getting to know each other, taking our relationship in a rocket ship super fast, because we met on Valentine's 2011. By September of 2011, we were already married. So this is super, super fast. And so there's no wonder why this recipe for disaster. And unfortunately, we had to take home very deep lessons at the time. It was very painful, but it has also made us on who we are now, like more connected, better communication, and more understanding of boundaries and self-love that we talk about. Even though the past could be very painful, I think the way I start to learn about these lessons was about the story that I was telling myself. I think the resentment grows is because the way you tell yourself something happened. So the way something happens, right? Everybody just walking the line, you derail. Everybody goes through that. But what you tell yourself when something is going bad, it definitely has a lot of profound effect on you. Oh, I'm telling something that happened in a negative way over and over and over. You create this pattern in this highway on your brain that this is just the way it is. When you sometimes can play the victim. And at the same token, if you tell yourself a version that is empowering, that is helping you, you create a new highway, and you're no longer going to the old road of and this and that's like the process that I'm in right now, especially because I come from like generation of having a lot of resentment, of like anger management. So for me to let go a lot of things that could have happened from the beginning is a big deal. So I feel like if I can do it, anybody can do it for sure.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so we have some tricky territory around opening things up, getting married too young, it being Sherry's first experiences. And this is so many of the clients I talk to, by the way. It's not just y'all's, it's like a lot of them, they're with the only person they've ever been with. And so there's this like curiosity about other things that can often lead to that conversation about opening things up, and then not really having the tools and the understanding of what that actually takes for that to be successful. So you had that going on years ago and it turning into a crisis, and then seeking out some therapy. I know you guys did EMDR, right?
Yeah.
Right before, a little
I
bit
found
right
a therapist that she implements EMDR into her sessions, and that was helping us too.
A little bit, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the hypnotherapy too, right? Y'all did that?
Yes, she also did that.
Yeah. And when you were thinking about talking to me and joining my EpicX Blueprint program, what was your thought process there? Oh, we've tried that modality already. It didn't really work to clear the communication issues and the connection. Like, where were you at when you got on the phone with me? What was your thinking? Just like curiosity? What is this about?
Yeah, so I listened to a few of your podcasts, and then I was just curious to know how you could help us. I wanted to okay, let's just see. Because I have been already searching, I've been trying to find a way to get help. So it was why not? She seems to know what she's talking about. She said therapy doesn't work. So
and there's the title of multi.
Yeah, exactly. And the multi-millionaire orgasmic, I'm okay, yeah, that sounds like what I want.
What scared you most about joining the program?
I feel for me personally, nothing personal, I've always been very skeptical, right? About anything that can go through my life, I could be skeptical. Mm-hmm. I feel that I was scared about that, about joining something that might not work, or spending money and resources that not being able to find the answer. I guess for anybody to feel like that is normal. But at the same token, I saw that Sherilet and I have been together for 13 years, that we owe it to ourselves, that we were going to go to the bottom of the bottom to find out who we are, what we want to do, what are our priorities, redefining ourselves, because that's something that a lot of couples, wouldn't do. You would invest in business, you would invest in vacation, you would invest in cars, we were investing in everything except ourselves, like our relationship. So a program like this, it turned out to be the most profound experience, worth every penny for me personally, because it's giving us the tools to handle the things that we couldn't handle before.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. You joined the program and then we got to work. We hit the ground running. I want you to tell me if you could paint a picture for what the Epic Sex date nights were like. How would you describe what happened in those date nights? What was your experience with them? In this program, there's 10 guided sex date nights of all different types of flavors of sexuality, healing, tantric, kinky, wild, ecstatic, like all sorts of stuff. So tell me, what was your experience like with the date nights itself?
For me, it's like a rainbow. It's just, you could be like looking at life in a certain color and then realize like there are more colors and there are more colors, and all of a sudden your life can be more fulfilling because you can see all these different things to empower yourself and to actually enjoy and have a good connection with pleasure. So for me, it was like a lot of experimenting and a lot of connection, communication, also some triggers. So we got to work on our inner child wounds. So all of that was just like a rainbow. It rains, but then you see also the rainbow. Yeah, for me. How about for you?
The program itself, it's amazing because I feel that we didn't know what to expect. And never like we're doing the same things like most couple can do, just in the bed or in different parts of the house. But we never took this to a deeper level and experiment with different techniques and different topics that we were like that your program has, that we were trying, like the kinky sex or just the penis, what is it, like in the pussy, like ritual
Yeah,
kind of
the
thing.
massage, the
And
ritual.
all the massage, the massage too, it was great. Yeah, just in that area, of course. So I feel that I didn't know what to expect, and I was trying these things that were really enhancing my experience. And on top of that, being able to connect myself with my breath and these somatic sounds and movements that were really getting the results like fast that I was searching for. I tried different things to prolong the performance, not being able to ejaculate very fast, and it wasn't working. Like hymns, pills, and desensitizers, and like I went to a doctor too. I was like, once I got into it, I just said I need to get to the bottom. And in the program, I was able to reconnect with that part of myself, and that was very fulfilling for me to be able to enjoy our playtime for an hour, when before we couldn't just not even take a 3 minute, 5 minute thing. If I could plan a picture, it would be wonderful.
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 That was the question, right?
Yep.
If you could paint a picture.
Yeah, of what the Epic Sex date nights were like and what you thought about them.
Yeah.
Just a very fulfillment and wonderful experience.
Okay.
And which one was your favorite? Do you have a favorite date night from the program?
You have a favorite? I personally love the king, queen, goddess. Forgot the name.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
Transfiguration.
fun.
Yeah, the masculine and feminine transfiguration.
I love that one.
I had a few. I remember one that we were just like breathing very
The
close, breathing to each other, and we very connected like that. And really, it was a wonderful experience. And I think the for me, the kinky one, it was something that I was like very surprised that I would enjoy. It was something very different. And to play with the toys, it was great. I love it.
Oh, I love that. Okay. Now talk to me about the erotic languages and like what you learned about each other and discovered about each other through the lens of the different erotic languages and how that supported your understanding of how you operate sexually.
For me, it was like the information I needed to make sense of what was happening. I always felt either like shame or guilty, or will project that he was the problem and like it's on him. So it helped me understand that we were just different, wired differently in what we like and how we like it, and the process and the ambience, and like it helped me like just realize that we can just connect to a deeper level now. We can do these things together. We can explore each other's languages, and we don't need to be at conflict. It's just that we're different. And that helped me a lot, that information.
Beautiful.
I feel that I was, when I first heard about the blueprint, I feel that it made a lot of sense for me to maybe be a very sexual person, get turned on very easily. And at the same time, it gave me a better understanding about Sherilet and how she works, the touch and anticipation. Um, so it was a very good guide to go by to understand yourself better for couples, just because we're not the same, where people like different things, different preferences. And that's what the blueprint did for me. It also helped me understand about all these ideas of sex. And it gave me also a little bit more curiosity to try them and to see if I can resonate with another one, just different than the sexual part.
Awesome. Yes, I think that's the most awesome thing about the blueprints is it helps you to expand what you normally would have only had a certain range of experiencing pleasure from. And then if your partner is different than yours, it forces you to learn to experience pleasure from different ways. So I love hearing that.
Yes.
All right, loves. So tell me the coaching sessions. So in the program, we have 10 1.5 hour coaching sessions. Tell me how that was different than therapy and what did you get out of it? What was the best part of doing those coaching sessions? And where do you think your biggest wins really took place? Do you feel like it was from the coaching or from the date nights themselves or like a combination of both? Talk to me about that.
I feel that the coaching really started making sense when we also started reading the book, to start diving into like our traumas, child traumas, unhealed that we've been dealing with. First of all, like recognizing that and take it for what it is, and get to work. So I feel like the program was very efficient too, because you were just following up with a therapist. You just meet them there, and you don't follow up on, hey, how you been feeling. So with you, that was great, that the fact that we had a way to communicate before the date nights or after the date nights or whatever was coming up. I remember not being able to talk to you very consistently, but you were there all the time. And I think that made a lot of difference to know that we're not by ourselves, that you could be in a jail thinking, oh my God, I don't feel good, or this is not working. Because this might come up when you start working onto something. Like I remember there was a lot of things that were coming up for us that at the same time, it can make you feel like in an eggshell, be like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to talk to her now. Or, like trying to be closed off. That's like what can happen to me. So all of that, it was way different than therapy, and which each follow-up and which each session, I was getting closer and closer to finding a resolution for myself.
Yeah. Oh, sweet. I remember having the talk with you. I was like, Carlos, you have to update me. You have to utilize the support you came to me for. When you have little kids and you guys are both immigrants to the United States, you're freaking hardworking Americans who have built your business from the ground up. Like, you didn't get a pass, and y'all work your asses off. And when you're used to that mentality, it's like when someone comes in to be like, hey, I got you every step of the way. It's like a retake. Wait, what? We have this kind of support? Oh my God.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. For me, I feel like the coaching and the date nights were like one without the other. I guess it's not the same because the date nights also like it kept us accountable. Like we have to do this and let's have fun with it. Let's figure it out. And then the accountability backed up by meeting up with you to talk about whatever came up. It made us, if you would have just sent us the documents, we probably wouldn't have gone for the second date. We would just not be where we are. So your phone calls, every time something came up, what we did, the practices, everything you recommended, it was like spot on, everything we needed at that moment, every step of the way. I'm really grateful for you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you. I would love to hear, what was your biggest takeaway, greatest win? What did you really resolve doing this program?
One of the biggest, I feel that being able to enjoy my sexual relationship with my partner, that's the biggest takeaway for me, because that's what I was having a challenge with, not being able to last, not being able to connect with myself, just at a very superficial level. Um, and also about the book that you recommend us, which is Getting the Love You Want, which in a way it's a healing. The funny thing about the program is that you would think about, you jump in because you're having like a sexual problem, right? So you say, okay, let's focus on this sexual issue, right? And then when you start digging, it goes back to you when you were a child. That's sorry about that. That was what was happening in my case, that I had this issue that I wanted to get better. And then with the tools again and the book that you gave us, it was a big takeaway. It was a turning point to know that what's coming up all these times is the traumas that I could have when I was a kid, when I was young adult. And that's what I saw.
Awesome.
For me, I think it was just changing my mindset because I was just coming from a negative point of view, like hopeless in a way, and very confused to what the future holds, and if I'm capable or he's capable of this and that. Just very limiting beliefs and the wrong mindset. When you want to grow and you want to change things, then you have to take responsibility. And it really helped a lot to have somebody like you to guide us through that and the process. And then we had to do our part. So it was like a combination.
Yes.
To be able to make it work. And it's constant work. It doesn't stop ever. So we are just so grateful to get as far as we have in our journey.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, my loves. Well, how has your experience in this program and really resolving some of those communication issues and clearing a lot of the resentment and jealousy and being able to connect with your partner on this deeper level? I remember I got a Marco from Carlos the other day. Marco Polo, that's where we communicate. And Carlos says, I never thought we could get here. I didn't think we could ever have this connection. How do you feel that has impacted other areas of your life and parenting or your business? Because you guys work together, you run a business at home together. That's a lot. So tell me, is it shifting things and how you're actually working together as parents and as business owners?
It made us be more aware of how we handle our relationship, right? Our intimacy is a reflection of how you handle the world, how you handle your babies, how you handle everything. So we are still in the process. Like Shelly says, this is work day to day that you have to show up, you have to try your best, you have to find that sheet. And I feel that so far we're doing a good job. And I wouldn't expect things just to go super smooth all the time. But the point here is having the tools and knowing better. When you know better, you got to do better.
Yep. Sex and relationships are learned skills. So you guys have the skills, you have the techniques and the trainings, and I'm just so happy for your progress. And I'm really grateful for your courage to share your experience, because this doesn't go unnoticed to anyone listening or to me, that to share so vulnerably and intimately and authentically about what you were experiencing and how this has transformed in your life. It's really amazing. So I appreciate you for sharing today. And I want to ask you one last question before we wrap up. If someone were considering doing this program, what would you share to them? Do you have any words of advice or wisdom about maybe how this was different for you and how it ended up being the thing that you really needed to make the change and the transformation that you wanted in your sex life and relationship? What would you tell them?
Okay, so I would say that you have, what I like about you, Till, is that you implement like the science, the spiritual, the ritual, the somatic,
Right.
and you need that to heal. You need all of it. You really do need that to integrate, to be better, to understand, to know what to do if, and to dig deeper and know that you can have somebody with the experience to guide you through all of that. So I would say that if you're willing to do the work and you're willing to stick to what it takes to do the thing, which is not always easy and it will take time, but that I would highly recommend it to anybody that needs help.
Yes. What would I recommend? What would I say to them? I think everybody is going through some chapters in their lives. Like life isn't just rainbows and unicorns. And the point here that what I learned is that the biggest connection that I can have is with myself. If I really love myself, I really nurture myself, I can nurture and love others, including my partner. So when somebody feels like just throwing the towel and moving on, they're gonna have to figure it out regardless with that second partner or by themselves, that it comes back to you. It's always gonna come back to you. I would recommend it without a doubt that give themselves a chance and look for help and get a program like this that it not only is going to re-enhance their sexuality, because everything is connected. It's going to re-enhance your whole life, the way you see yourself, your other relationships, your boundaries, your inner childhood traumas, unresolved, all of that.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you all so much for joining me today. Is there any last words or anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
No, nothing. Just happy Valentine's Day to everybody.
I just want to say one more time, thank you, Tilly, from the bottom of my heart for showing us all this work. I remember I had a vision of you showing us a video of these morning rituals that you can do to like cleanse this energy. And I feel like, thank you. We are planning to do the program, I think, when we finish. This is something that we discussed privately, that we would love to take the program again by ourselves and do it.
Do the date nights
Do the date nights again. Just because, again, we owe it to ourselves. We want to make sure that we go over the material that we felt it was so important and so game-changing for us. Thank you for all the support, for all the information, for all the knowledge, for all your patience, your professionalism. I feel that you cannot really make it up in life. When you have experience, you cannot buy this experience. It takes time for you to get there. So I see that it has made a tremendous amount of impact in our relationship for the better, has made us grow and make us stronger. And I'm very thankful for you and for your program.
I'm thankful for you for having the courage and the drive to do what it takes. So I love you too. And happy Valentine's Day to you and happy anniversary.
Hey.
That's right.
It's lovely.
Wow, what an amazing story. I hope you were inspired by Sherry and Carlos. I hope you enjoyed listening to their interview because this is not something that is an untypical result. This is actually a very typical experience of someone who has the courage and the heart to do what it actually takes to transform your intimate life. So, if that's you, if you're sick of the lack of communication, if you're sick of feeling like you're speaking each other's like opposite languages when it comes to sex and intimacy, if you've got resentments that have built up over time and you're ready to let those go for good, and you want to explore other flavors and, like Sherry says, all the whole spectrum, the rainbow of sexual experiences that can be had together, then I want to invite you to apply for the Epic Sex Blueprint program. It's currently open for enrollment for 4 couples only through the end of February 2024. So if you and your partner are like, hell yeah, I am so down for whatever they had, then I want you to head to the link in the show notes. You're going to book a call with me, and we're going to get on and talk about whether this is the right program for you or not. And I will share all of the details of the program, and we'll get you squared away. And if it's not, don't worry, I'll be sure to let you know the best resources and what I think you should be doing instead of this. So I will be the first to let you know whether or not I really feel that this is the right fit for you, and if I think that you can get the type of results that Sharon and Carlos did. So all you gotta do, head to that link in the show notes before February 29th, 2024. Get your call booked in, and let's talk. All right, see you there, lovers.